So the advertising goes, the social media companies then come in, Google then comes in and takes away other sources of revenue. So where is the revenue now for local journalism? What models do you get? Is it content models? Is it jobs? What's the part that you see, hey, this is the revenue that I need to put next to the storytelling?
The kind of entrepreneur I admire, and there's lots that I don't, but the kind of entrepreneur I admire goes to the very basics of every business is supposed to solve a problem. That's it. Yeah. And we get away from that so often. It is like we become unmoored. And my trade of journalism has been tied to lots of different models. Like journalism is not an industry. Journalism is an approach to the world. So journalism was a tool for an advertising industry. Yeah. Great. It worked pretty well for a while, relatively speaking. That was a strategy, journalism, that was attached to a particular business model. My interest is you can attach journalism to any number of business models. It's a strategy. So we see a flourishing of subscriber models, particularly at the national scale. Yeah. Like I think the kind of Substack individual is a great thing. An individual with a bunch of tools can say, I am providing information to a particular narrow audience who will all give $20 a month or a year or whatever. And if I'm at enough of a national scale, I can make a great living. Local makes that very challenging. The model of local breaks on the internet because you're immediately narrowing down your audience. You start looking a lot more like a pizza shop, and you're running a pizza shop that people feel the pizza gets worse if they have to pay for it. That's a tough pizza shop to run.
Yep.
So I think you have to attach your journalistic practice to other models. And so our first and longest running model focus was essentially an events model. You have talked about that. I think that's beautiful. And there's a lot of events models around the country that support information. I have concerns about those models, which is why I've moved from them. But it is one that works. We will gather news and information to aggregate an audience. We will invite that audience to a party. We will sell someone access to that party. That's great. And we still will always do a kind of event strategy, be it a conference of people, because I think that community is so very necessary in this work. But I always was worried about the indirect nature of that. If you followed that, I'm going to gather information to get an audience. I'm going to get that audience to come out, and then I'm going to sell access to that audience. You could sensibly say, well, why don't you not have the journalism part? Like, there are lots of ways to get information right now. I can do goofy TikToks and get people to come to a party. Why do this at all? So I think all the time about if you replaced me with a PE guy, would you still have a newsroom? And in that model, you wouldn't.
Yeah. And the time that the events take.
Yes.
It
can make sense, but yes.
Dominate it must have, when you were doing the events and you were it must have dominated your schedule.
Yes, so for sure. You become an events business because that is what you are. You're an events business.
Yeah.
Just like you were once an advertising business that uses journalism with it. And I think we need to engage with how we get our information and who does that. I think events models can be good because ultimately our newsroom's job was not maximizing audience. We were not an advertising model. Yeah. Their job, the newsroom's job, was to have relationships with people. So that is why an events model can work well, but it always felt indirect. So our model today technically has moved toward an underwriting model, which is like, in some sense, the most boring model there is. I convince people that our work of growing an audience around a particular narrative fulfills their goals. And so for us, that is a lot of economic development organizations. And I have those conversations of, oh, isn't that a problem? What if they don't want X, Y, or Z? I think that has always been the problem. Any model that has journalism as a front door will have a model, are you willing to stand up for the information that you're providing? Yeah. That is less a question of the model, in my opinion, than the work you want to do. If you run a pizza shop, you can say, I'm going to use cheaper and cheaper ingredients.
Yeah.
That is, every business has that exact tension, and it's true in information provision as well.